It is the year 2472, and the Earth has suffered a great calamity. Hundreds of years of popular culture have vanished. Without the sacred films and texts for guidance, civilization is devoid of anything cool. Then, 3 incubation chambers are unearthed, and from within, men from the time of the great blockbusters emerge. Now, through highly interesting conversations, they share invaluable insight about what once was. The movies, the shows, the comics, toys, and books. This is
The Hyperspace.
Podcasting in the 25th century.
Welcome in, podcast pioneers, to the hyperspace. Podcasting in the 25th century, the interweb's first and still only podcast. My name is Jared, and tonight, Mike and Matt have used one of their time passes to go back to the 21st century to spend the holidays with their family. And before I do the same, I wanted to give a gift of an episode to our subscribers and listeners because we appreciate your support throughout the year. And I've got a few odds and ends I think you'll find amusing. But first, I'm not doing this show alone, and I'd like to introduce to you my co-hosts. We've got of course,
Well, thank you so much, Jared, for having us on.
Okay, gentlemen, I think it might be easier if we do this one at a time. Since Star Trek came first, I will, of course, introduce the father of Star Trek, Mr. Gene Roddenberry, to the show. Gene, thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Well, Jared, I appreciate the intro and the kind invitation to be on your show. But since I passed away in 1991, I am not for certain what a hyperspace podcast is. So I will happily accept any information you can give me on what exactly we're doing here.
Okay, Gene, of course, I will do that. And secondly, I'd like to introduce onto the show Mr. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars. George, thank you so much for joining us.
Listen, I know what you guys do on this show. You make a mockery of me. You make a mockery. You think I like to sniff things and talk about body parts, and it's all a mockery.
George, that's fascinating. What body parts do you talk about on this show?
Guys,
we're not going to go there. But I just want to welcome you both into the show. It's our holiday, it's our Christmas show, it's our Christmas gift to our viewers. So, as we go along here, I'd just like to say that.
Excuse me, Jared. I must stop you there. I'm fairly uncomfortable with the quasi-religious overtones of a holiday show. As you know, in the 23rd century of Star Trek, mankind no longer goes in for the religious hokey-pokey of things like Hanukkah and, of course, the nativity scene at Christmas. As you know, in the 23rd century, we have talked about these things at length on our
Okay.
I am sorry.
No, it's fine, Gene, but what I'd like to do is just sort of continue this show in the spirit of the holidays, and Gene, just sip your eggnog and enjoy your finger foods, and we'll just enjoy the holiday season here on the show. Does that sound okay?
Well, I suppose if you put it that way, yes, that's fine. Where are the young ladies in the skimpy Santa outfits? Do we have any of those here? I got some Christmas metal bikinis in the back here. I don't know if you want to get that.
Okay, guys, please. It's a family show. We're just trying to do our thing here. I wanted to just bring back from the past shows some clips that are my personal favorites, and I just get a kick out of every time I hear them. So the first one up we're going to talk about is when Mike talks about his first job, or one of his first jobs, when he worked at Burger King. And, I think this Burger King show we've talked...
Burger King, sorry to interrupt you there. We had a partnership with Burger King back in the days of the original trilogy, where we did some really cool drinking glasses. For each film, we came out with 4 drinking glasses, and they're quite coveted by collectors these days. Well, George, if I may interject. That's fine, sure. Well, as you know, for Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, we had a line of glasses at Taco Bell. Now, because I had nothing to do with Star Trek III other than stamping my name on it and collecting a hefty sum of a check, I was trying to fight back at Leonard Nimoy, Harv Bennett, and William Shatner in the only ways I knew how, and I convinced the executives at Taco Bell to put a giant spoiler on one of those drinking glasses, and that was, of course, the destruction of the Starship Enterprise, which was revealed in the advanced trailers and, of course, also on the drinking glass at Taco Bell. So all the slobs who got their Taco Bell value meals would see that their favorite starship, the Enterprise, was in fact going to be destroyed by Leonard Nimoy, William Shatner, and the like.
Well, I gotta say, I think that's actually, Gene, that's a great scene in Star Trek history. The destruction of the Enterprise. It has weight, it has gravitas, and it's an incredibly well done sequence. Even to this day, when you watch it, that
ILM did the effects on that. I was there having lunch when they were blowing up the Enterprise, and I took some satisfaction in that. I'm like, hey, yeah, look, hey, Star Trek, who's the big daddy now? I'm blowing up your spaceship. Your big Enterprise right here on the screen. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, this is going to be a long show if we keep doing this. So, what I'd like to do first is, anyway, let's listen to this clip. This comes from an early season 1 episode, and it's about Mike and his experiences working at Burger King, and I just get a kick out of it every time I hear it. So let's check it out.
I mean, I had that Burger King was a great first job. I had a lot of friends eventually that I already knew come work there. I made some really good friends, had some great working experiences. We had a lot of fun. We closed, which meant we were there sometimes till like 4 or 5 in the morning cleaning that place up. Because we closed on the...
How old were you again?
16. So here are my funny stories. This story is one of my favorite stories. We made chicken. I don't know. One of my favorite things still from Burger King is the original chicken sandwich. That's like oblong shaped. That's like the best thing on the planet.
Yeah, it's like on a hoagie bun.
Yes, and I mean I ate so many of those. And so we had this knife that we used to cut it in half. And I'm already getting tickled. All right, so we had this knife that we cut this. Stop. We had this knife that we cut the chicken. All right, I'm going to tell this story. So we had this knife that we cut the chicken sandwich in half with, and we had this knife forever, and it was dull. I mean, it was really dull. So one day they sharpened it. And they didn't tell anybody. So I'm working, and I see this guy go walking past. And he's got a hole in his pant leg, the back of his pant leg. So I'm like, what happened to your pants? And he's like, what? What's going on? he had he had finished wiping this. I mean, he had cut the sandwich in half, and then he took the blade and wiped it off on his pant leg. First of all, I don't know why he would do that. But secondly, it was so sharp, it sliced through his pant and his leg. And he didn't even know, and he's walking around the restaurant with this hole in his pant leg with blood on his leg. And we were like, what happened to your leg? And he told us. And we were like, why are you wiping knives on your pants? So anyway, so that's like still one of my favorite stories. Just seeing him walk past with that hole flapping in his pants and being like, what is going on? So anyway, I don't think any other story I can tell would top that.
Okay, so that, I did listen to that clip in real time, and like my face hurt from laughing because Mike gets so out of sorts laughing. Mike really loses control of himself, and he just kind of lets it go, and he can't even breathe, and it was just a fun show to do. So anyway, it was quite good. Now this next clip actually features one of Matt's most infamous comments. It's been talked about on several subsequent podcasts, and our friend Deke, he really likes to latch onto this one and kind of give Matt some grief when we hear about it. It came from our Babbling with Balboa podcast, and we were talking about the film Creed 2, and there's a scene where Matt kind of gets confused as to what is going on because he insists on watching these movies on his phone, and he couldn't really tell what was going on. And I'll just let the clip play here, and you can judge for yourself.
They roll him out right in front of the paparazzi, I was thinking, man, could you not go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting in a wheelchair with sunglasses, and then he's back in L.A. But
there was a nice moment, I thought, while he's being wheeled out. Bianca walked in front of him. I think she, I'm not mistaken, flashed was it the pregnancy test that she kept?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't pick that up.
Yeah, she gets in front of him and turns around, and I think it was just to kind of like tell him, like, don't worry about this stuff. We got better stuff ahead than that. Just that little moment I thought was a nice little flash. Watch it again, you'll see it.
Okay.
Are you talking about when she handed him the sunglasses?
I don't know if those sunglasses or not, but she turned around and showed him something.
Sunglasses. She gave him sunglasses.
She gave him sunglasses.
Oh, is that what it was? I'm going to tell you.
I think
maybe,
so.
Because I watched it on this.
Yeah,
okay. Well, that could.
I'm going to go with my thing because I thought I'm going to give the director more credit than.
Although I want to see an alternate cut where he puts a pregnancy test on the bridge of his nose.
But
Okay, so that is, of course, the infamous Creed 2 pregnancy test reveal from the Babbling with Balboa podcast that we do, and it was we kind of got a kick out of that, and that particular blooper has legs. Like we really we really enjoy it when we hear it.
I could have gone back into the lab with that, and I would have probably just CGI'd a big pregnancy test in his girlfriend's hand there, so he could see. It could really make it clear what we were looking at. The pregnancy test that his girlfriend had.
Yeah. Okay. Well, George,
What? What's your problem?
No, I'm just saying that it's not. It wasn't a pregnancy. She was handing Adonis his sunglasses, and Matt thought it was a pregnancy test, and that was kind of why we took, why we thought it was funny.
Well, I for one can tell you there's nothing funny about pregnancy tests. I've had to go through quite a lot of those because of my infidelity and my inability to, as they say, keep it in my pants.
Okay. My final clip is going to be come from an episode where it was kind of a random episode for us. I think on that particular day we recorded, we really didn't have a topic, but we wanted to record something, so we just started telling these random, tales from our past, and it turned out pretty interesting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's really interesting.
Thanks, George. But anyway, here I am describing an incident that occurred between a McDonald's drive-thru attendant and my grandfather. So, please check it out.
This is a drive-through story, and it involves my dear departed Grandpa Tockstein. My Grandpa Tockstein, he was not easy to understand in the last years of his life. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Napoleon Dynamite. I think you have.
Oh, the guy with the...
He talked like that farmer from...
Show Shawnee Arrowhead.
Yeah, he goes,
Over there, that creek, man, I found a couple of shells on the arrowhead.
That's my Grandpa Tockstein. Okay,
That's great.
So he goes to McDonald's one day when we were there visiting, and he comes home with like $80 worth of McDonald's, and my grandma's like, my grandma's like, what is this? What? She goes, there's one of everything on the menu. And so we found out, as Grandpa explained it, he goes, well, they couldn't understand me, so they just gave me one of everything.
Did they charge him for everything?
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
and
man.
God bless him, my grandpa. He just paid it. But I could only imagine him pulling up to a drive-thru and just them being like, so anyway, rest in peace.
Okay, well, that was the infamous encounter with the McDonald's drive-thru that my grandfather had. Rest in peace, Grandpa. He was one of a kind, but
Well, it didn't seem very honest of the person who was at the drive-thru to put such a large bill on your grandfather for fast food. You see, in the 23rd century, we no longer use money. And the thing about it is, when you don't need to use money... I think we've had enough sermonizing, and, I don't want to hear any more about the 23rd century. Well, you have your credits in Star Wars, and it seems rather earthbound to me, George, that you would have such a monetary system of, listen, I don't need this. I don't want to hear any more of this crap. I don't need to listen to you talk to me.
all right. Gentlemen, okay, listen, I'm going to edit you both out of here if you don't just settle down, please.
All right, you try to edit me. Listen, that's what the studio tried to do to me on THX and American Graffiti. And, I showed them. I became big time, and, I bought my company, and no one tells me what to do. As a matter of fact, you try to cut me out of this podcast, I'll do a special edition of it. Add a bunch of crazy CGI Muppets to run around farting all over the place. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that doesn't sound great. But anyway, before we wrap it up here, I'd just like to say thank you to our guests, Gene Roddenberry and George Lucas. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I hope you both have a happy holiday season, and I'm going to be transporting you back to your respective time periods now. But before we go, is there anything that you both would like to say?
Well, maybe instead of sending me back to 1991, I could be sent to the far future, where I can walk around nude and do whatever I want to anyone I want and not have any consequences whatsoever.
Okay, I think I'm going to be sending you back to 1991, Gene. George, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, just that Disney, you're killing me. You're running it into the ground. My God. I mean, the Jackalite, the Assalite, or whatever kind of program that was, I don't know. And then got all the other Kenobi and Ahsoka and all this. I mean, Skeleton Crew's okay, but it needs more farting creatures. I mean, farting creatures sell tickets. I don't know what.
Well, George, that we're not really selling tickets these days. They're looking for streaming numbers.
I got a stream for you. You want to come smell it? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to leave that there. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I'm going to share with you now our first blooper. This was from episode 1 of the show. And I think in this particular time we were trying to, I don't know, we were recording the open separately, and it didn't really go as planned, and it just kind of went off the rails. And it's interesting in this clip, too. You'll hear how the open of the show has kind of evolved from what it is today. But before we share that with you, I'd just like to say to everyone, happy holidays from the 25th century. And check out this clip, and we will see you in 2025 as it is measured in the old calendar. Thanks for listening. See ya next time.
And today, we're going to be trivia. Shit. 3, 2. And today, we're going to be taking a little look back in a contest, some might say, to the time we grew up. Isn't that right, guys?
If you say so.
Dude, I don't know where you were heading.
I'm just going to start the whole thing over.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2. Welcome in, podcast pioneers, to the hyperspace, podcasting in the 25th century. I'm Matt.
I'm Jared. Dude, Mike, you always go last. What are you doing?
The last time you didn't go, so I went. You threw me off with the last one, so don't blame me.
What? I totally went.
No, the last one I went before you because there was a big pause, so I went. When you go back and listen to it, you'll hear it. So don't sit there and try to blame me for it.
Dude, he totally...
Okay,
Mike
enough.
totally messed that up.
No.
Right, stand by.
You'll see
3,
when you go back.
2.
Who's going to go next?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. No, Matt goes
Matt,
first.
Jared, Mike.
Perfect.
Matt, Jared, Mike. Matt, Jared, Mike. Stand by.
You'll hear it.
I'm going to start a new... You want to do a new Audacity or just keep this?
We can keep
we got to
rolling on this.
We got to keep this so Jared
we'll
can go
keep it.
back and hear his error.
Okay. Stand by. 3, 2...
You know you can't live without this content, so subscribe to the Hyperspace Podcasting in the 25th Century. Follow us on social media, leave us a review, and join us next time as we take you into the 25th century.